Today we're going to talk about the common issues with portfolios created during UX bootcamps and how to fix those problems so that you can better your portfolio and improve your chances of getting hired. UX bootcamps are a great way to start your design career, but there are some myths and misconceptions connected to them. One of them is that you will produce a world-class portfolio that will get you hired in the best companies right after graduation. The reality is that this first version of your portfolio can land you some internships and junior positions, but it is still a beginner's portfolio of example projects. I strongly encourage you to put some extra time and effort into continuously improving your portfolio. It will really pay off. As promised in the previous video about UX bootcamps, I will share with you the major issues with bootcamp portfolios and how I recommend fixing them so your portfolio is more professional and attracts better work opportunities. The first issue is that not all the bootcamp projects are portfolio quality. The idea is that every project that a student creates during a bootcamp eventually lands in their portfolio. For absolute beginners, the first couple of design projects should be only for learning purposes. They don't meet the quality bar to be in the portfolio. By the end of the fourth project, students usually make so much progress that their first project is no longer their best work. In consequence, they end up with the portfolio of their available work, not their best work. There is also one very important issue connected to the portfolio-focused approach to teaching UX. Bootcamps usually ask their students to develop complex projects with large scope at the very beginning of their design journey. Usually it's an application created from scratch. It may be really overwhelming and may lead to many mistakes. The better approach would be to teach design on smaller projects that require contributing to an existing product or developing an isolated feature. Then when students are ready, they can start developing their own portfolio. It will be a little more time-consuming, but more sustainable and more effective in my opinion. Let's talk about the solutions. Basically, to solve the quality problem of the portfolio, you can take one of two paths. After the graduation, you can revisit the older projects with the experience you have now and redo some parts, or remove those projects from your portfolio and create entirely new ones that will replace them. I know that it requires some extra time and goes against the bootcamp's promise of being job search ready right after graduation, but in the long run, it will make your job hunt more successful. The second issue is the cookie-cutter projects. Students of the same bootcamp work with a limited selection of design briefs. In consequence, they produce projects that are similar in scope, topics, and even under the same name. It's not a problem when it comes to learning, but it becomes a problem when it comes to the recruitment process, since recruiters online can notice the similarities between portfolios. You're risking being categorized as yet another graduate, or some recruiters might think that you are not honest about your work and that you are copying someone else's portfolio. There are some actions you can take to improve your existing case studies and make your portfolio look more unique. First is to change project names so that they don't reflect the ones from the brief. Second is to not copy-paste the problems and goals into your case study. Try to reword them or tweak the problem statement slightly. It may require making some changes to your project as well. Next, use slightly different set of functionalities. Remove some parts or add some exciting features. You may need to redo some mockups or rerun the usability testing, but at the end of the day, this extra effort may really make a big difference during your job search. And the last one, use distinct styles. If the project brief included some suggestions regarding the branding, change them. The third issue is too much focus on process and artifacts. Case studies created during UX bootcamps usually revolve around showing the design process and all the artifacts that the student created. They forget about synthesis and storytelling. This automatically places the portfolio on the beginner or student level. In general, the more senior the designer, the more portfolio focus shifts from the process and artifacts to trade-offs, decisions, and pivots. In this case, a correctly executed design process is important, but it's sort of a given. It doesn't really make sense to show artifacts like the usability testing scenario or showcasing the affinity mapping. Viewers' attention is better spent on analyzing the synthesized results of those activities and understanding decisions that came out of them. To shift attention from process and artifacts to decisions, pivots, and trade-offs, you can do two things. First, remove insignificant artifacts. For example, usability testing scenarios, affinity mapping pictures, workshop boards full of sticky notes, numerous sketches, and initial low-fidelity ideas. And second, identify key moments and decisions in the project. Emphasize them by adding more context and making them stand out visually. Issue number 4 is that the case studies are too long and boring. Because of the focus on the process and the artificial nature of the UX bootcamp briefs, all the projects in the student's portfolio end up being very similar to each other. They follow the same process, they have the same activities, and even sometimes the copy-pasted descriptions. Case studies end up being more like showcases of the activities that the student done not well put together, really unique stories that they should be. In real life, there is way more variety. Sometimes the personas needs to be purely behavioral, usability testing needs to be performed in the form of hallway testing because of time constraints, or there is some big pivot because of a strategy change or some research findings. Here's how to fix those problems. First, add some variety to the activities you do for each project. Even if Bootcamp doesn't require it, you can still perform additional testing or do more market research and document it. You can also work on storytelling. You don't have to show everything in your case study. Consider what actually contributes to the story and which information is redundant. Avoid repetitions between the case studies. Don't copy-paste the descriptions of activities or diagrams that illustrate the process. You can also work on text and structure. Avoid long paragraphs and instead use some bullet lists, short paragraphs, and in-context descriptions. And lastly, pay attention to how you present mockups and designs. Do not overwhelm the viewers with the number of screens and make sure that the annotations are added to every single asset. If you would like to learn more about improving your portfolio, I would like to invite you to my free 5-day portfolio masterclass. The link is in the description. Issue number 5 is not showcasing the soft skills. In addition to technical skills, soft skills also play a crucial role. Employers are looking for designers who are able to not only create great designs, but also communicate effectively, work with the team, and empathize with users. If you're showing those things in your portfolio, it will set you apart from other candidates. I recognize that soft skills may be hard to show in a UX Bootcamp portfolio because there were no real stakeholders or team to interact with. Anyways, you need to find alternative methods to highlight the moments when your soft skills were shown. First, communication. Demonstrate it through clear and concise writing and presentation. Consider recording a case study walkthrough and adding this video to your portfolio. Secondly, collaboration. Showcase your ability to work well with others by inviting another designer or a design student to your project. Describe this collaboration and your contribution. Third, empathy. Share examples of how you conducted user research or usability testing, where you showed empathy towards user needs and frustrations. And lastly, problem solving. Illustrate how you approach design challenges by sharing stories about the decisions you made and trade-offs you considered along the way. The last issue that I want to talk about today is the lack of real-world experience. I want to clarify that there is nothing wrong with having example projects in your portfolio. In reality, many junior designers, including myself, landed their first jobs with portfolio of example projects. That being said, having real-life experiences will elevate your portfolio and open more doors for you. To overcome this problem, seek out the experience outside of your bootcamp. Look for internships or volunteer opportunities that will allow you to work on real-life projects. You will use the skills that you've learned during the bootcamp to solve real-life challenges, and you will be able to add more projects to your portfolio. In conclusion, UX bootcamps are a quick way to enter the field of UX design. It's great that they focus on building the portfolio, but as a student, you need to be aware of the issues that we discussed today and try to fix them to create the highest quality portfolio possible. Spending this extra time will really pay off during your job search. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.